show.
Must resist the urge to click stop broadcast.
I'm gonna try plugging this thing in one more time, just on the off chance that maybe I just didn't do it right. Oh, there it goes.
One of my apprentices actually gave me some special code, but I'm really afraid to give it to you because
It's a code?
that's what he said. I don't
Where
know.
would
If
I put the code?
it's hang on, let me find it back in. And they did a lot of talking today, so let's see. What did he say? Says you need to sync it first.
Well, it won't sync. That's the problem because I'm inside. There's no. See, it'll blink like this, and then it'll start blinking green.
Hold down the window.
Okay, so he says move the top right silver switch on the remote control.
Yeah.
Up and down 10 times.
Oh my God.
Yes, I'm finding this hard to believe myself.
Yeah. Didn't this feel like
Stand on your head.
It's just a big joke to see if I'll go through all of this. All right, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Jake's the one who wore the dress in my cohort, so I wouldn't put it past him that he's pulling your leg.
All right, I'll do it anyway. 10 times. This one right here. All right.
That's what he says.
4, 5, 6,
That
7,
thing takes
8,
off your
9,
desk.
10. All right. 10
Yeah.
times. Then what?
Yeah. And then he says, and you decipher this however you want. He says, then you have to flip the drone clockwise all the way around. I don't know what that means.
Flip the drone clockwise. Okay.
Throw it in the air, Gina. Throw it in the air.
Oh, don't throw it in there.
All right. So that was clockwise. 180, 360.
No, see, and that's it. That's all he says. Didn't
Oh,
work,
no.
did it?
Do the hokey pokey.
I'm going to dock him a few points in the cohort.
Tiff has returned.
Welcome back, Tiff.
Sorry about that. Just a slight technical issue. But I'm back now.
Nothing.
Changing costume. It's all good. I understand you.
Tiff, do you have any Twitter images that you want to share from other people who are watching the show or anything like that? Have you got that sort of thing ready?
I do, but I've just restarted my computer, so I just need you guys to talk for 2 minutes while I find them all again.
I'm sure Tanya can maybe eat a Tim Tam or something like that. I don't know, dip it in her wine.
Oh, yes, so we are the after show.
Did I miss that? I'm going to have
Nope,
to watch
still
the
coming.
recording.
Are you going to do it
I
in a
don't-
special way, or are you just going to eat it?
No, I don't have a hot drink because it's a hot day, and yeah, this is for Mason Marsh as well because I know he ordered these off Amazon for some ridiculous price.
Yeah.
But
$26
maybe the
a
Hulk
box.
can eat it. It's yeah. See what you do. You bite off this corner, and then you bite off this corner, and then you suck through your hot drink, and it instantly just dissolves it, and you got to try and get it in your mouth before it falls to bits in your hands. But it's an orgasm in a biscuit, pretty much.
Wine, go on.
Is it going to happen?
I can't do it through wine. That's just weird. I'll try.
Yeah, because sucking a biscuit isn't weird on its own. It's only the wine that
It
makes
won't
it
melt
weird.
it. I need to top up of this beautiful wine that everyone's going to go out and buy.
Yes, put the
It's
link
my
in the
dad's
chat.
Bungather estate. Alright. Ready? Ollie? Meeting it on my dick. Ready? Chocolate wine.
Contacts to make this happen.
See, there she goes.
It's good. You guys are missing
Very
out.
No, still alive.
Dino, are you trying to figure that thing out?
I hope he's just standing over at the window, just holding it outside until it gets a signal.
Oh, there it is. Look.
Oh, hey, look at that!
Oh, it's
Yes!
Yay.
Watch it and weep. Gino's got the... Oh,
Don't
did he
hit
just
the
let
print.
go?
Don't hit the print.
Did he just let go of it in his... Oh, thought he was flying the thing for a second. Somebody got his mic taken unmuted so he can hear this thing buzzing around.
He is flying it. It doesn't look like it's tethered.
I think he's holding it.
Oh no, he's got it. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
He's hiding his hand to be all dramatic.
Mm-hmm. Jim Henson.
All right.
Need to
got
get
it
it
started.
inspired, Gino. You can fly that thing indoors, man.
Okay, hold on. This could get ugly. Wow! Woo. All right, that was it. That thing went straight through my face. All right.
Wait a second. Nice job. Wow.
That's it. That was it. We're done. I'm glad it went from my face, though. If it had went the other way, it could have taken my screen out, but can't really
Totally
hurt.
came right,
Just
it came right for you.
Trey
Didn't
can
even hesitate.
control them better than that in Antarctica.
Yeah, so last week you tried to set fire to your house. Now you've tried to chop your head off. What are we going to do next week, do you know?
We're gonna have to up the game next week. I'm going to fly this indoors. We're gonna
fire.
go for some sort of record, like a minute, maybe a sustained minute flight in the post show.
Stu, we could probably figure out how he could channel that to a Google Hangout, right? So he could like send the live video from the actual quadcopter to a Hangout, so we can actually see when it cuts
See
his
when it
head
hits his
off.
face? Yeah.
So we can actually see.
Most guys wouldn't brag about being up for a whole minute.
Wow. Wow. Well, for me that would be a record, but
Maybe we should clear the floor now for Gino and Tanya to go at it.
no. None
She
of
had a
that.
Tim Tam. She's ready to go.
I'm gone.
All right. So anyway, that was some excitement.
Yeah, Tiff, have you got those images then?
Yes, I do.
Here we go. Tiff, bringing the heat.
Okay. Let me know when you can see something.
We can see.
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, this one is from Jeffrey McFeeters. This is apparently a restaurant over in Beijing that's owned by an Australian, and some of the awesome food. I quickly tweeted him to ask him what the name of the restaurant was, but if he's gotten back to me, I haven't seen it yet. So.
And he is also
next.
the proud owner of one of my grandmother's mittens. He bought a book,
Awesome.
and so did Vincent Anderson. Thank you, guys. I will be sending your books out tomorrow.
Can I just have one of your grandmother's mittens?
Get to work,
No,
Grandma.
I really want
Um, okay, and there's this image from Keith Williams. I'm not quite sure why it's coming up so small, but there we go. This image here from Lisa Speakman from AD Wheeler's cohort.
Lisa rocks.
Yes. And isn't she a hero now? Has she become a hero?
I don't know.
Anyway.
No, she is
That's what Captain
actually
America
she's in the path to the protege, so she is working on becoming a master.
Oh, right.
Ah, you
Awesome.
got to do her first. Damn. We better try and put a cape on her.
Okay, and yeah, this one here from Jeffrey McFeeters again, which I just think is got some beautiful colours in it. And last but not least, Pete shared this image of him indoctrinating his kids with the Creation Wars. So there we go.
I've been swearing. Oh no. Sorry, kids. Don't say any of those words. They're bad words. Okay? Bad words.
And so that's it from the internet tonight.
That's not
Right.
quite it. I actually
Oh, isn't
found
it?
this.
Did I miss stuff? Sorry.
Yeah, I found this photo of Don's grandmother knitting together.
Old but not forgotten.
Old but not forgotten, it says in the background there, Don.
That's adorable.
Awesome.
Man, that's pretty awesome. She even looks Canadian.
How do you look Canadian?
Is there a look?
Oh, come on now. You know the Canadian look.
Generally
look like-
carrying a hockey stick and missing a couple of teeth, right?
Right?
wearing
Slightly
two-
hunched over from carrying all that back bacon and Labatt's beer all those years. You can see her
Well,
pockets
like
are filled
dramatically
with
clean.
Bob and Doug McKenzie references.
It's okay, Don. Us Australians and Canadians, we stick together.
Oh, you know, we're all just good Canadians here, eh?
See?
Yeah, you can tell that she owns several copies of Rush albums. But nothing too stereotypical. Oh, I see Karen Hutton calling me out on Twitter for criticizing AD for playing fast and loose with the rules.
Yeah.
I wasn't criticizing. I was respecting him for that.
Karen, get in the game or get over it, one of the two.
Actually,
That's
there's a
funny.
question. There's a question from the guys over on Twitter for AD Wheeler and Ollie Dale, who isn't here, about where your July workshop schedule is and how people can find it.
Well,
I think my computer might have been crashing at that point when you were talking about that stuff. So
it's actually going to be a massive Kickstarter program once we get it all put together. So we're still putting the details together, but there will be links and you'll be able to find it on Kickstarter. And yeah, so we'll have all the
Okay.
details of. Ollie's going to be doing a really cool filmography for photographers setup, 2-day workshop. I'm going to be doing more travel and landscape, abandonedscape stuff. So we'll be visiting places where we can all be arrested for a couple of days. So it'll be good. It'll be a great weekend out. And we're going to do weekends, and then he and I are going to travel and do B-roll stuff in between, and we're going to do a big film about the whole mess once we're done.
okay, so stay tuned for more specifics to your Google Plus channels for now.
Yeah, Google Plus is probably the best place to
Yep.
to find out about it. We'll be announcing it everywhere, hopefully.
Okay, cool.
Gino, can I just say I've got a message here from Karen for you.
All right.
Tell him, good job, Gino.
Whatever. That did not come from Karen Hutton.
That did.
No, I don't believe it. That was photoshopped. That's what that was.
I'll tell you don't believe me. Then you'll feel the wrath.
Yeah. You know, I used to be Karen Hutton's bodyguard. I don't know where things went sideways, but I think I've been thrown out of the Karen Hutton life cohort.
Well, you take on Karen Hutton and Jessica Lark in the same episode, you know you're gonna feel the wrath.
Yeah, that I have to admit that's what you call biting off more than you can chew right there. That was a great thing.
You put
And I
Angela
have to know
Pan
you
in there,
too,
Gino.
Don.
What was that?
Gino, if you put Angela Pan in there, you pretty much could, like, you know, write your will out at that point, I
Oh,
think.
I know. Angela Pan, just her smirks alone kind of bring me to my knees, you know?
Yep.
So, yeah, I really respect. I love having.
Do you know I've got to tell you. Tell him you have witnesses. I have witnesses.
Who has
I don't know
witnesses?
what that
Karen
means,
Hutton?
I have witnesses.
You have witnesses to what?
I don't know. That's what I'm being told to say. I have witnesses. All right.
I think it's
So anyway,
great that your cape is blowing in the
550
background. Sorry, your cape is blowing in the background, Tan.
have the
It's a
cape.
great effect that you've got going on there.
Oh yeah, the one on the couch. Did you see my lightsaber collection?
Is that a battery-powered
plus this one?
cape?
Did you? Kinda. Yeah.
Only Ollie
it's
has
not a battery.
battery-powered things.
Unlike Ollie, yeah, we actually use real manpower over here in Australia. Kiwis just have to use
Oh.
batteries.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
You got lots of different masks over there in Australia as well.
I
Getting
do.
my lightsaber
In
out.
Australia.
Is that like a ninja turtle? What is that?
It's a nice big sword. Every Scotsman has a sword kicking about in the room with them.
Of course.
I have a sword over there. See my sword? It stabbed the clown.
So I've got.
I don't
I've got
have a sword. I was going to say Gino and I think we both have the same. I have one of these things.
Gino, that's deadly.
Yeah.
Don't
So
take
I've
that.
got- this is my grandfather's deer hunting knife, which was recently given to me by my brother. So thanks to him for giving me that. And then this, hold on, got something else somewhere. Oh, here it is. This was this is an actual Vietnam era bayonet that my brother, who is a Marine, dug up at a location which I will not disclose because I don't think he was supposed to be digging there. But he found this in the ground, and he carried this with.
Wave that around in my face. Thank you, Gina.
So, but anyway, he carried this with him over in the big sandbox when he was serving over there, and then he mailed it to me as just a little keepsake reminder of him. So that was cool. And then, failing those, if those don't work, you can always break out the big peacemaker.
Nice.
Guns are bad, okay?
Right at you, Tanya.
I'm right with you there on the grandfather knife thing. That's my ski and do, which I keep in my sock when I've got this outfit on, and as every Scotsman does. So there you go. That's your bit of Scottish language for the day. Ski and do.
Stu's middle name is 007.
And do.
Yes.
Yeah, you can tell Stu. This is his alter identity. He's not real.
Dave Garber wants to know why are all guys comparing their swords?
I think it was Tanya that started.
Wait, I have a joke.
I was going to say.
Well, if
Tanya,
I've got a bigger sword than all of you,
us?
then yeah, you've got something to live on to.
Well,
Where do monkeys go to drink?
Don't know.
Don't know. The monkey bars.
Whoa.
Okay.
All right, with that, I'm going to bid you all a fair due.
Thanks, Gino.
Thanks, Gino.
All right, Gino.
Bye, Gino.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I want to share something with
Bye.
you guys here quickly. Have
Yes,
you
I
seen?
have one of those.
Yeah, you have one of these, AD.
Yes, I do. I
And what
stamp
is
my
this?
print. Well, it's an embosser, if it's like what I have, and I use it to
Yes.
emboss my print certificates with.
Yes, exactly. And so I do this as well, and Gino may have been showing off the one that I had given him at some point. But so this is something really cool that photographers should get. You know, this is just a picture of a piece of paper here that has, I don't even know if it's visible, if you can see it on there, but I have an embossing seal that allows the photographers to you know, it just adds a certain air of quality and importance to a print.
Nice.
All my prints are numbered and signed, and they have these little seals on them. And I think it's just that little extra touch of class. And I'm glad that you're doing that as well, AD. And I think that all photographers should. The actual apparatus to do this probably cost me about $100. Not a whole lot of cost invested into that, including the little stampy thing with my little seal logo embedded into that too. So it's just something fun for photographers to keep in mind.
I bought a stamp. Does that count?
That's
They
a
make
step
them
in the right
really-
direction.
It's a TanyaWallace.com stamp.
They make them really small too, and you can get these in the States. You can get them made for you at like Staples online, and they're really inexpensive. They're like $25. And you
Oh, that's
can,
cool.
Yeah, you can. The little stamp things come out and everything, but it's nice because I didn't hear you when I was digging mine out of the wall back there, but yeah, it's just a nice touch to have that on. Mine's got my website and my name, and it's a nice touch to put that on the back of your prints and sign them and number them and all that stuff too.
Yeah. I've actually been thinking of kicking it up a step further. I give little certificates. Let's see if I've got one here. So this would be a certificate for a print that I was working on, and it's got the little seal on there, and it's got the date the photograph was made, and the date that the photograph was taken, and the print number, and that kind of thing. And I've been actually looking at getting some watermarked paper as well, which will be a nice little added benefit to that. And watermarked paper, you got to buy a lot of it, but you know, in volume, you know, per piece, it's not going to be that much. And they've got, I was looking on Alibaba and a few other places. Now you can buy little certificate holders that are made of like faux leather, cardboard stamped, you know, vinyl covered things that will be added to future prints being ordered as well. So, you know, the total cost of doing all of that per print is like $1 when you break it down by volume, and it adds a lot of presence to your work.
Yeah, I think what I did with mine is I actually, I'm not sure how you say it, but it's a pattern that you can actually draw, guilloche, something like that. You know what I'm talking about? It's a spirograph type pattern, but you actually can I can code my name into the pattern, and then the pattern gets drawn out into a graphic, and then the graphic is the background of my certificate. So it's kind of like a counterfeit sort of thing too. So the certificate's a one of a kind when you get that as well. So yeah, I love doing it. My friend has this nice thing he does for his abandonment prints. Is he actually he brown paper wraps his prints, and then he wraps them in police do not cross tape. That he's got after so when you get when you get the print, it's like this do not trespass type thing when you got to open it, and then he's got the certificate and all that cool stuff on the inside. So it's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, anybody who's doing prints really should think of those neat little ideas to just make your work stand out. It's always important and special to those people who get your work and purchase your work and support you. It's very cool.
Well, especially in the photographic world, people buy art, but photographs. I mean, it has to have a one-of-a-kind kind of feel to it. It has to have a certain uniqueness for people to maybe bite the bullet and cross the line and make the purchase. And I think that doing the certificates is one way to do it as well. The culmination of my project with all of these snowflakes, I'm going to be working on it over the summer, is I'm going to have more than 400 separate images on one print, all in relative size to one another. And I'm actually going to try and see if I can make them make one actual size. And right now I'm trying to figure out how I can make the highest resolution possible print. And I'm trying to weigh a bunch of different options as far as printing services go and that kind of thing. I mean, I've got a great printer here that does 600 dpi, but I'd need to go more than that in order to get the detail that I want. This is something that you'd be encouraged to look at with a magnifying glass. And so far, I'm kind of coming up empty-handed as far as printing services. If you get something that's done through offset printing, the resolution still might not be as high, even in the best-case scenario. So what I've been...
You need to go look up a Where's Wally's book.
Well, I suppose so. I mean, but that is still printed at around 300 dpi, as much detail as there are in those books. But so my idea right now, and it's the best idea that I've gotten, and I want to find a better idea because this is going to be tedious, is to make a gigantic print of this, and then have behind me it's an 11 by 14 camera, and shoot a print, shoot a negative on 11 by 14 film of that poster size, and then do a contact print of that. So I would do a contact print of the negative to get the highest resolution possible. And I haven't found a better way to do that. That's awfully tedious. It's awfully unique as well, so maybe that's what I'll end up doing. But I got all sorts of fun projects in my head at any given time.
You could get your grandma involved with...
She can knit the print. Is that what you're saying? Make a quilt.
Can I just say I've released a book too? Not as good as Don's, but this is my my tree book.
Well, let's take a look.
We're not on air. Yeah.
Well,
you all
still
want one. You know you do.
Well, where can we get one, Tanya?
My website, tanyawallace.com. So
right.
It's dedicated to Karen Hutton, of course, because she's my friend. So it's just a book on trees, as you do when you make trees. So yeah,
that's very nice.
That one there, that was made with a preset from A.D. Willer's website. Night to Day, is it called? AD?
30 Days of Night. Turns any daytime photograph into a nighttime photograph. With one click.
And,
so are we talking?
We're
talking about yes, and it's free. Yes, we're talking about books. I have 2 ebooks available. We're going to talk about that, and you can get them at my website. One is about slot canyons out in Utah, not the ones that everybody visits. This is kind of off the beaten path, and the other one is an Abandonedscapes book, where I visit 15, I think, different locations and talk a little bit about them and feature the photography. But they're both ebooks, so. They're like $2 or something like that. Cheap stuff.
Awesome.
Cool.
a
My
message
e-book's
in
like
from Ollie
$5.99,
actually
so-
about something he's doing, and he says he's going to be doing a Lego Sphere 2 experience for anyone who likes Lego. So if you've seen Ollie talking about his Lego before, he's very much into the Star Wars stuff, which is fair enough because it's some of the stuff there is super cool.
I
Lego
have four
Sphere.
sons.
Would
Well,
that be
there's
There's
stop
no one
motion?
more into Lego than me.
You can get them enrolled in Ollie's Sphere 2 experience.
I have bins and bins of Lego in my storage room at the moment, and someday in the future, when I have kids, they will be indoctrinated into the Lego experience as soon as they can figure out how to put those things together.
Wholeheartedly in the
Legos where
making.
it's
It doesn't take long, Don.
What's that, Les?
It doesn't take long at all. Our 3-year-old, he's already all over it. He loves
And
it.
I'll be cursing myself as soon as I do that, because then there's no greater pain than stepping on Lego pieces.
I'm actually part of a group on Facebook called There's No Bigger Pain Than Stepping on Lego Pieces. That's it.
There you go.
Les, what time is it in Perth, by the way?
12:05.
It's midday. Jeez. I feel better
Yeah.
about drinking wine now.
Well,
That's-
this
it's, hot
this
here as
rakia
well.
is going down quite nicely that I've been tasting this evening. This is actually quite fun because this is a regional tradition, I guess, in Bulgaria, which is where my wife is from. And they, a lot of people will just sort of brew their own. And although I think it's technically illegal to do that now that they're part of the EU, doesn't stop anybody. And so you go over to anybody's place, and they will serve you this homemade brandy. And it's quite nice because everybody will try different fruits, different ingredients. Every taste is different, and so we always bring a couple of bottles back whenever we go and visit every year or two.
Nice.
To the border and given funny looks for your strange alcoholic beverages.
Well, not really. I mean, none of the label is in English. Leva rakia. Din Prom Troyan. My Cyrillic is really terrible, but there's a percentage on there, and it looks like it's store-bought. I think that's the key.
I got stopped at an airport once for having an empty flask, never mind a full one. I think they were wondering what I was going to fill the flask with. Probably not a wise move to have an empty flask in your hand luggage, in hindsight.
That is
So-
quite funny.
So, Stu, what did you think of the Who Garden? Did you end up drinking that?
I did. There was two options when I went to the shop. There was one that was a strawberry one, I think, and there was the standard one. So I went for the standard one, and it was quite nice. But I think that out of all the drinks I've had so far on these shows, I think the whiskey beer was actually the nicest one, and I thought it would be one of the worst. But it has a nice burn as the aftertaste, which was good when it was starting to get in, yes, getting into the winter time.
I'll have to see if I can find that over here.
Yes, if not, then I'm not sure whether I can send it across or not, whether it would arrive safely, but we'll sort something out, hopefully.
Cool.
Strange bottles in the post.
Hey, Don, a technical question. Have you mentioned photographing when we were talking about beaches and stuff like that? Have you ever photographed grains of sand?
Now, I haven't photographed grains of sand, but I have photographed grains of salt. Let me see if I can find that picture, which is pretty awesome. Just give me 1 second to find. I have no idea where I would have put a photograph of a grain of salt. Oh, well, look at that. I have a folder on my computer called salt. Just give me 1 second. Oh, apparently there's a few of them in here. I don't even remember doing more than one. Well, look at me. Okay. Let's
You're
try
addicted to the
find-
white powder.
Yeah, you know what? That's kind of scary. This is actually a really cool shot. Just give me 1 second to do a screen share here, and okay. So this is salt, and this is photographed on an overturned like a sideways black porcelain cup on my kitchen table, and I sprinkled some salt on, and whatever didn't roll off the curvature of the cup,
Wow.
I photographed.
Unreal.
That's awesome.
That's unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, so if just table salt is that interesting, then I can imagine what variations of grains of sand would have. But I'm not
Can
going
I
to
just
tempt
look in
myself.
your head?
I'm not going to go
Just let
down
me
that.
look.
I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I fear I will never return.
Don, I'm sending you a little jar of sand. You're going to get it in the mail.
Oh no.
We'll never
It will
see
take me
Don
my
again.
lifetime to photograph that.
And from all around the world in your mailbox.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, you know what? I will take it. If I am sent sand, I will promise you a photograph of said sand. I will say that much. One photograph, not individual.
Do you know, Don?
Yeah.
We actually have here on the south coast of New South Wales, we have the whitest beach in the world, whitest sand beach in the world, called Himes Beach, and I will send you some Himes white sand because it's whiter than snow.
Oh, well, I'll put that to
Google
the
it.
test. I won't Google it. I will be the judge of that. I will use the exact same camera settings on that and snow, and I will figure that out for myself. Thank you very much.
Okay, good luck with that.
Yes.
Noogie.
What she didn't tell you is that it's gonna look just like Jack Thatcher's photograph when you blow it up. She's just messing with you. It's gonna look like a bunch of little leeches.
Little
eating
squirmy leeches eating, swarming some poor thing at the center of the mound.
All of Chiluli's work is just way bizarre like that. All of it is. I mean, we have a 12-foot tall piece at this museum right near here, and it's ridiculous. I mean, can't even fathom how the guy puts this stuff together. It's just unreal. And then you realize it's all glass, and how is it supporting itself because it's really fragile and.
I mean that is true artistry there. It takes not only a very specific mind, but time and patience and working with a particular medium to be the top of your class. And us as photographers, I think we have a hard time finding anything remotely as unique and marvelous, I guess would be a good word. It's when you see a piece of physical artwork that really stands out in person, it's second to none.
Every year here in Corning, New York, we have a thing called Glass Fest, and it's all glass artists from all over the United States come in, and they have a competition, so to speak, and they basically make this amazing glass art over 3 days and compete with each other. And I've had the pleasure of shooting it for 3 years now, and some of the stuff, I was going to see if I can find it here for you really quick, but I can't because I don't know if anybody from Smug Mug is watching, but Smug Mug is not allowing anyone in to look at their photos right now. So.
Oh, that's not very helpful nor convenient.
No, I'm trying to log in, and it's just saying, no, yeah, sorry, login's not working right now, so.
You've just been barred, AD.
Call up Baldy and find out what's going on. Bother him at 11 o'clock at night or whatever. Yeah, it's just, it says let you in, I can't get in. It's a private account, so I can't show you. But there's some pretty cool stuff that I shot with an infrared. I know, Don, you'd love this. I shot it with an infrared filter, and when they're doing the glass blowing, they have these super high temperature propane torches that they're using, and the glass just heats up so much that you can't shoot it with a normal camera because it's so bright. But you put the infrared on, and it's amazing. You can see like right into the flame and into the glass. And I have a few shots
that's cool.
used on their portraits, their posters and stuff, and it's just really cool. I was hoping I'd be able to show them to you, but nope.
Well, send me a link.
Well,
I'd
show
love
us.
to see them, or send me some of those pictures at some point. If you can't get them now, you've wet my whistle for it, and I'm quite curious to see that. It's funny because I do a lot of stuff in infrared, and it's almost impossible to tell exactly what scene is going to work well in that until you experiment. And for me, I enjoy experimenting, let alone taking a great picture. Sure, you might get something as a result, but that's not the fun. The fun is seeing how the world looks differently, and infrared's a wonderful way to do that.
Yeah, we talk about that in the cohort because I've got like 4 shooters that shoot infrared in my cohort, and I like to do it when I'm stuck. When I'm really looking for like some sort of inspiration, I grab the IR camera and one lens, and I run out and just mess around with that and just come up with, because you never know, like you said, what you're going to get.
Your handmade IR lens, AD.
Well, yes, I
handmade
did.
one.
I did do that to my camera, but yes. Ooh, actually, I have two back there that are both took the sensors, the hearts out, and
But you
mutilated
know what's
them.
really cool with infrared? You know, there's some things that people don't normally think of when they think of infrared photography, and your camera becomes like a beautiful flare factory if that's the kind of thing that you're after. And so, you know, if I take a look at this image, this is from a sculpture that's in downtown Barrie, but it's more just a crazy shot to illustrate what flare happens in infrared. And so this picture under normal conditions has almost no flare. But throw the infrared camera in the mix and all of this flare comes into play. And it's funny when you actually think about why this happens, and I get into all the sciencey, geeky stuff about this. So you figure that all of the lenses out there on the market, you know, they'll have coatings on them, all sorts of different types of coatings with different features. But these coatings are based, at least most of them, to my knowledge, are based on the principles of thin film interference, which causes certain wavelengths of light to cancel out, and from destructive interference prevents things from bouncing around in different ways. But because they're based on thin film interference, that means that they're based on very specific wavelengths of light. Most of them are tuned to visible light. And thereby, if you throw an infrared camera into the mix, those coatings are either ineffective or can be detrimental to infrared photography. And so that's far more information than you ever needed to know, but that's how these lenses create some crazy flare effects.
Just amazing, Don.
Cool. And why are the flares in a five-sided? They're not a hexagon, obviously, but they're a
Pentagon. Well, because that's the number of aperture blades that fisheye lens has. So
Thank you, Doggy.
Yeah, the number of aperture blades determines the sort of the shape of the bokeh or the lens flare in this particular case. And so if you have a heart-shaped aperture, it'll create heart-shaped bokeh. If you have a pentagonal aperture, then it will create pentagonal bokeh or flare at the same time. Now, what's interesting too is there's a company out there called Flare Factory, and they actually take old lenses and they strip out the elements and they remove all of the coatings off of them and they put them back together. I'm thinking about getting one of these to do a direct comparison between visible and infrared to see exactly how these coatings compare. But also these coatings, they work very well to prevent ultraviolet light from passing through to the camera. And one of the cameras that I have is specifically modified for ultraviolet work. And one of the things that I've noticed is that if I take a lens that's a fairly simple optical design, like this one sitting on my desk, it's a 50mm f1.4 lens. There's fewer elements in this lens than, say, a complex zoom lens. The fewer elements when you're shooting in ultraviolet photography, the better, because each element has coatings that block ultraviolet light. And so if I'm trying to do images in UV, then I need either the simplest lens possible or one that has no coatings to have the transmission back to the camera as effective as possible. And hopefully I can do some astrophotography and some crazy flower photography with that when I get the right lens equipped on the camera.
Yeah,
that image you brought in by your champion too, Don, reminded me a lot like one of yours. You've got one.
Yeah, well, I do a lot of water droplet refraction work, and so it's funny because I think I don't know if it was AD or Les that had mentioned some of that stuff, but I like to consider myself at least moderately accomplished in this kind of work, and so when I throw out these challenges to my cohort, I always give them an example to possibly shoot for, and this was the one that I had showcased for them. And in this shot, this is the seed of some kind of a flowering, like a wildflower, and this is the seed of that wildflower. And awesome. And so, yeah, that's kind of a fun approach to that. But when I do these kinds of images, I don't just take a picture of that. I'll do a behind-the-scenes shot of it too. And so this is the setup of that exact image. And I've got just a bowl of water on my kitchen table, a third hand tool, one of them that's holding up the little flowering seed thing there, and another one that's more of a tweezer design behind that's holding up the flower. And you can even see from a human perspective the refracted image showing up in those droplets. But when the camera gets in close, it makes all the difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The fun I have at home.
Have you thought about using? Have you thought about using? You thought
Have I
about
thought about
using medium format? Yeah, medium format at all, like phase 1 or something similar.
Well, I thought about that, but yeah, at this scale, I might be able to get some crazy resolutions out of it. But for my more extreme macro work, I don't know if the lens equipment is available. Now, I'll be shooting up to 12:1 life size on my 1DX, and even at that point, there's no point in going any farther. That's probably overkill because diffraction limiting is causing a problem where it's causing the light that's supposed to hit 1 pixel to hit all of the neighboring pixels, like 4 or 5 pixels over. It's effectively blurring the shot. The only way around that is to either have a wider maximum aperture, which isn't available for digital SLRs in that kind of macro work, or to have bigger pixels. And so the solution could be to go for a larger format sensor that would have maybe the same number of pixels but bigger ones. But those lenses, I know that they'll make macro lenses for that equipment. I've seen it, but it's only 1:1. And then I've got to do all sorts of weird stuff to figure out exactly how I can enhance that. And it might be possible, but it's by no means convenient. What say you, Vader?
Vader says, I am your father.
Vader's had too much wine. That's what Vader's had.
Well, Don's grandmother's been here and Don's father's been here, so. So, Don, did you do the modifications to your IR cameras yourself?
No, I thought about it, but I had it sent over to LifePixel to do the modification. I've taken cameras apart numerous times. I cleaned my own camera sensors, and I know how to do it. But I figured, you know what, I'll let a pro do it because I didn't want to take the risk, and I'm sure that's why a lot of people don't clean their own sensors because they're not, they don't want to take the risk. It was a 5D Mark II that I had converted, and at the time it was still a fairly high price tag for failure. But now, I'd probably be comfortable doing one now. I'd consider that kind of a fun project to work on. And from what I saw, AD, you were holding up the actual filters that you had removed from.
Yeah,
your
that's
camera.
the blue filter out of the Sony's, which is UV and IR. So
Right. So it's a high pass and a low pass filter built into one.
Yep. And I actually took this out and then used this for the template to cut the actual filter glass with, which I just buy 720 nanometer IR glass and then cut that filter and then sand it. And
now,
smooth
AD, I have a question for you. The Sony camera, how many pieces of glass are in that sensor?
In the actual sensor itself?
Well, in front of the sensor. I have a Nikon D4S sensor kicking around here somewhere, and it has 3 pieces of glass. It has that filter. It has another piece. It has one filter that is a low-pass filter, one piece of glass that's a high-pass filter, and then there's one piece of glass that is glued on top of the actual sensor itself.
Oh, well, that's nice. Then is it just a standard clear piece of glass that they're using for protection?
Yep.
Yeah, so then you've got options there where you can pull the high or the low if you want to, and probably not damage the sensor at all, or worry about it.
Yeah, and so it was kind of fun to see those different options, within that. And it wasn't my camera. I asked Nikon Canada to send me some spare camera parts so that I could use them as demos in classes and workshops. And so I get a nice little gift pack in the mail from broken cameras. This sensor was scratched and useless from Nikon's standpoint, and they gave me shutters and aperture, mechanisms and pentaprisms and all that kind of stuff. It was kind of fun.
Nice.
The camera I shoot Canon, but the camera manufacturers are quite friendly to people that want to just teach about camera gear. It sells more cameras, I suppose, but
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, the Sony's got one piece of glass. It's pretty nice. Peel it off and stick the new filter on there, and you're pretty much good to go. It's not really a tough job. The only the part about it that you have a heart attack is that when you pull that piece of glass off, you are looking right at the raw sensor. So you got to be very careful and keep all the dust out.
A speck of dust, yeah, because there's. You might have a chance to blow a piece of dust off, but there's no way to clean anything that really falls in, on top of it.
Yep. Yeah. So it was fun. I did 2 of them, and they were broken cameras to begin with. So it was just they were sitting and not doing anything. So it was either do something with them or, or stare at them. So I decided to tear them apart.
That's awesome.
I have a camera I'm going to tear apart soon. This is a Sony Mavica.
Oh, cool.
It takes floppy disks.
Yes.
And
I remember those.
AT&T IBM formatted.
64 sitting in the shed.
Yeah, no,
Hey,
I
if
got
you
one
need
of those
more
too.
memory, Don, I have plenty of those. So I can send you out a whole box.
It's so funny because I look at the label here and it says up to 2,000 shots, up to 2.5 hours, but it says using an optional battery and not using flash. So that's Sony marketing right there for you. It's completely lying about the statistics that you get. No flash and not the battery that comes with the camera will get you the numbers.
If you hook a car battery up to it, then you're good to go.
Optional battery. I love that.
Crazy. All right, guys, it's 11:30 here for me. I think I'm gonna head out. I gotta get a nap before Tanya rings me up at 4:30 and wakes me up. So
that's gonna happen.
And I have to go, and I've built an apparatus to sit on top of a humidifier that I'm going to take outside now because we have minus 21 degrees Celsius weather outside. And I'm going to take this humidifier, and I'm not going to make my own snow. I'm going to see if I can make my own frost.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
is it ultrasonic humidifier? You're just
Yep, it's an ultrasonic humidifier, so it just beams out atomized, water vapor at just regular temperature, whatever the temperature of the water is. So as long as the water doesn't freeze inside that, so I'll probably have a window of time where I can get this to work. I'll see what happens. It'll be a fun experiment.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Cool. I don't think it would freeze actually on the ultrasonic element. Probably inside the tank itself, you're gonna end up at that point. But
hopefully, I'll get the results I need before that happens.
Cool. We'll look forward to seeing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, everybody, I'm gonna head out. Stu, man, awesome job tonight.
Thank you, and thanks you guys for joining. It was fun.
No matter how Gino tried to derail the whole program, you held it all together awesomely.
It's what I do.
Yeah.
Les, congratulations, man.
Yes, congrats,
Cheers,
Les.
Cheers.
Well done,
Thanks.
Les.
Bye.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
I'm the odd one out now. Oh, you guys are on the other. There's Les gone as well.
They all dropped out.
Well, so, I think you got something to say, Tiff, or shall we end the show now then?
Oh yeah, turn it off. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks to the people who are still watching, and there are people still watching, so I think I've done my job. If there was no one watching, then I'd be screwed, but there we go. So, yeah, thanks for everyone for coming, and we shall see you next week when Ollie Dale will be back hosting. I'll be sitting quietly in the background wondering how I'll edit it all together, and yeah, have a great rest of the day, guys.
Yep.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye from the heroes.